I'm Alec from Chula Vista, and the only thing I listen to is Skull and Bones Radio.
SDSU's favorite party show.
Hi, this is Jessica.
And Jordan.
We're from Poway, and we're hanging out with Skull and Bones.
Stand by. Message incoming on Skull and Bones Radio.
Here at Skull and Bones, we're kind of like pirates. And just like pirates, we are rebellious, adventurous, and infamous. We are loud-mouthed, arrogant, and march to the beat of a different drum. We do things how we want, when we want, and talk about what we want. We are Skull and Bones Radio. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. We are Skull and Bones Radio. Before the break, we mentioned an interesting movement that's kind of been on the horizon. This one deals with transgender, equality, and all that good stuff. We'll open it up with a video. Our Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, recently did an interview, and this is what he had to say on the topic.
Americans who want to serve and can meet our standards should be afforded the opportunity to compete to do so. After all, our all-volunteer force is built upon having the most qualified Americans. And the profession of arms is based on honor and trust. Army Chief of Staff General Milley recently reminded us of this when he said, and I quote him, "The United States Army is open to all Americans who meet the standard, regardless of who they are." Embedded within our Constitution is that very principle, that all Americans are free and equal. And we as an Army are sworn to protect and defend that very principle. And we are sworn to even die for that principle. So if we in uniform are willing to die for that principle, then we in uniform should be willing to live by that principle.
So that's what Ash Carter, our Secretary of Defense, had to say on that topic. And the reason why we bring it up is because right up the road from here at Camp Pendleton, I think it's a Lance Corporal, Aaron Wixon, right? Mm-hmm. Who is a Marine up there. And she has become, the first openly transgender.
Yeah, so the way I understood it was she became the first open transgender Marine, U.S. Marine.
Right.
And so apparently her command's being very supportive about it. I guess they're the ones that arranged the CNN, what do you call it?
The interview?
The interview, yeah. So apparently she wanted to...
he now.
Okay, well... This is the confusing part because like you always see the past reference and the new reference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get so confused with that. So okay, so what's her name again?
His Aaron Wixon, Lance Corporal Aaron Wixon.
Was he born Aaron Wixon or was that his new name?
No, that's the new name.
Okay, so
I believe.
Okay, so back when Aaron Wixon was a female, I guess he was in college as a female at the time and dropped out and wanted to become a Marine and wanted to be the first U.S. Marine infantry transgender, and obviously the infantry wasn't open to females. So
right.
At the time, as a she, chose the next best thing and went to artillery and became a communications radio operator in the artillery. And now is stationed, I think it's 12th Marines?
Yeah.
12th Marines out in Camp Pendleton?
Let me look real quick before I lie to you.
It was either 12th Marines or 11th.
I think it was 11th.
It was 11th Marines?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, dude, so I guess... she broke down the barrier and now is going to be a he. And, yeah. Well,
that's interesting for several reasons. Just because, I mean, now that we're in this era of the military gearing towards don't ask, don't tell, a lot of openly gay serving in the military. And we've gotten a lot of mixed reactions to that. A lot of people support it, while a lot of people don't, specifically for special warfare. I think they're trying to introduce like the first female special warfare for Navy SEAL.
What?
So we've got actually another story after this, but we'll on the topic of Aaron. I don't know if do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? I guess is what I'm trying to ask. Do you feel like
Okay, so all right, so how I feel about it, well, there's, and I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but there's two different standards, and I can't speak for the rest of the branches, but at least for the Marine Corps, there's physical testing that we have to do every so often, and they test our abilities and our physical strength and make sure we keep up to par. And so for the dudes, I think it's like a bare minimum to stay in the Marine Corps. You have to be able to do like 3 pull-ups and run like 3 miles in 27 minutes.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this.
And as a
And
male,
it's different for women.
right? Yeah. And so women, they don't do pull-ups; they do hang. So basically, you jump on a bar and you like kind of hang there. And I don't know if you have to pull up and hang or if you could just do an extended arm hang. I don't really know. But anyhow, I don't know. I'm all for Aaron, doing the transition. I do think that if he's going to serve, especially with the infantry, because you got to have a lot of stamina and a lot of muscle tone to be able to withstand the infantry training. Just their lifestyle alone is freaking nuts.
Yeah.
So I think if he can keep up with the basic physical demands of an infantryman and not keep the same standards of a female, then yeah, dude, I support it 100%.
Right, and I agree with that, especially in the video.
Yeah,
He's
so
saying
do I.
as long as they meet those standards, then why not?
Sure.
But a lot of it is like, and I mentioned the Navy SEALs introducing the first female Navy SEAL, is sometimes in those combat zones, like women have, like things that they have to worry about, that we have to consider when they're out, in the desert for, weeks at a time, that males don't really have to worry about. There's a lot to consider, I think, whenever, you consider a female doing combat missions.
Well, can I make a point real quick?
Yeah.
So I think we can say that this is constitutionally okay, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing in the Constitution that denies this. I think people need to get used to it, and I was just thinking this is very similar to like civil rights movement, right? Like, the whole gay movement is something that hits home to us because we went through it. But even, civil rights movement, our parents, people would make judgments like, oh, well, African American people aren't smart enough. That they throw arguments like this, and then everyone's uncomfortable, and now we don't know the difference. So I feel like people that didn't grow up with it will have to get over it, just like the non-gender specific bathrooms at SDSU. That's weird to me, okay? I agree, or I admit that, but we get used to it. Kids grow up knowing nothing different, and then, hey, we're assimilated, no big deal.
So that's another thing with this is, I know for us, I'm sure all the military does it, but whenever we go through boot camp, there is no separation as far as with the males. All the males are thrown into one division. So we're showering together, we're eating together. Everything is like, we're grooming together. With the females, they have their own, facilities. So in this case, it's like when you go through just basic boot camp, are they all transgender? Is it going to be all mixed in?
I think I think what all military probably end up doing though, I think what they're going to do is they'll until they do get that physical change, I think they'll stay with their physical identity. Even though their gender might be might identify
physiological.
Yeah, so basically, if you got a vagina, you're gonna be in the
Well,
female boot camp. If you got a penis by that point, then you can be with the males. I think that's how they're gonna do it.
So that brings me to, I guess, the next topic. It's a good segue, Mick. Right now, they did a study. There was a study that was done that says right now there's about just over 1,300 to 6,600 people that are military that are transgender right now. Right.
Right now.
That's based off a study, right?
That's actually a lot
on CNN, and they're anticipating to do that transgender sex change. It's going to cost anywhere from $2.4 million to $8.4 million.
Ooh,
so that's a lot of millions of dollars that ultimately we're paying for. So that's another thing that's going to be, I guess, thrown into that, that cost of healthcare.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. Let's say you're not in the military and you want to do gender reassignment surgery, right, where you switch genders. Your work doesn't cover that, right?
I don't think.
No, I don't think that'd be constitutional to make them pay for that.
Huh?
It wouldn't be constitutional to make a company pay for a
right,
surgery
but then
like
why? I guess that kind of brings this question in: should the military, being employed by the military, who's essentially your employer, should they be paying for the gender reassignment, or should it be coming out of the pocket of your own?
If you ask me, I think it should be your own out-of-pocket expense.
I do agree with that part. I don't know why. It might be because they're trying to show support, and maybe the transgender community has felt oppressed. Is it suppressed or oppressed? Which one is it?
Maybe I think suppressed.
Oppressed for such a long time that maybe they're kind of, maybe this is their way of the government saying, okay, hey, we're going to come out and support you guys. But I don't know.
I think you bring up a good point. I think it is a can of worms, just like any movement, right? But yeah, it's where do you define what is health services and what is, like, what do you, something that you desire, with
like cosmetic.
Yeah, well, let's think about breast reduction surgeries for a second, or enhance, not so much enhancing, but, reduction. Some people may say it's a look, some people may say it's a health thing, and at what point, where is that line? I think that would be interesting to watch where that line gets built and the arguments that defend that line. Hey, this is a health thing, this is not, because I think you can argue both ways for a lot of things you do to your body.
Well, I'll say this. When I was active duty as a Marine, I had heard about a couple cases where there was some females that got, I guess they were depressed because they had small boobs, and so because they became clinically depressed over small boobs, the military actually paid for their breast enlargements.
Right. Well,
gave them boob jobs.
Beyond that, I mean, whenever you I guess do that, another part of it, because when you get the sex change, that's kind of like you get it done. That's a one-time thing, right? But in addition to that, you've got hormone pills that you'll have to take, or medication,
and that's like a forever thing. Isn't
it? It's an ongoing thing. I mean, I think that's an ongoing thing. I mean, you've got to take your prescriptions or whatever it is to control.
I agree with Matt. There's a line that's going to be drawn between cosmetic and medical, and it'll be interesting where it gets drawn. Like, I don't know. Is depression really is that so far as to be enough reason for you to go through some major surgery because you're just uncomfortable with yourself?
Oh, I think there might be.
I mean, I know it's a serious problem. Don't get me wrong. Like, before the internet starts getting at me about how depression is, I know it's a serious problem, but at the same rate, is it medical?
Well, I think the liberal medical side, I think their argument would be, well, veterans with PTSD, that they have depression because of PTSD, and they continually have to get meds, for probably the rest of their lives, and to treat their depression, their PTSD. And so they're probably thinking, they would probably come around with the argument like, well, these transgenders, they're depressed, and why shouldn't they be afforded to have their hormonal medications?
It does make sense. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is something that affects me none whatsoever. So it's hard for me to kind of come out with an opinion about it. I don't suffer from depression at all either, and I don't know how serious it is. So,
the only thing that will affect you is your taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Well, I will go ahead and say, I remember when they lifted the ban on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and gay people were allowed to be gay. Man, I was all for that, dude. I was like, yeah, dude, I don't mind going to war with some gay people. In fact, I want them to fall in love with me. They're going to protect me in war, man. Bullets come flying my way. I want them on me. Mick, no! I'm going to take that bullet. Save me. You know what I mean?
No.
Save me.
It's probably not exactly. That's not, exactly how it would go down, but.
Well, let's hope, man.
I know what you're getting at, Mick.
I got big lips and a big butt, so hope to God.
All right. Well, hey, there was actually another story that we came across. Matt, do we have time to
go for it? Yeah.
Okay. So there was actually another story that came out, and this is actually an interesting one as well. A former Navy SEAL, member of SEAL Team 6, Mick, that means they're pretty elite. They do handle all the clandestine, or what is it?
Dude. Those are the boys that got Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, they handle all the kind of elite missions. I guess they all do, but yeah, they're kind of the elite of the
cream of the crop.
Yeah, cream of the crop.
So this one former SEAL Team 6 member, his name is Kristen Beck. He went through some humiliation at the airport. He was going to do Okay.
What do you mean she? What do you mean?
So her name now is Tristan Beck, formerly Christopher Beck.
Hold up, I'm really confused. Wait, what'd you say?
So Christopher Beck was a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
Transgender, now Kristen Beck.
A Navy SEAL is a transgender?
Male to female.
Yes.
A SEAL Team 6 guy turned into a woman? Wow.
So I'm going to say she because she's now a she. Kristen was moving through the airport to go to like a speech that that she normally does. This time around, SEAL Team 6, Navy SEAL, pretty buff.
Yeah, I could only imagine. That's gonna be one manly. I'm not gonna say it bad.
So what happened? What happened to her is, she's waiting at the security checkpoint to come across. And she noticed, male and female TSA agent, crossed the way. Normally they flag you or wave you to come across, to come in.
Right.
So what happened to her is as she's standing there waiting to get waved into this checkpoint, the two TSA agents turned their back